investigator who conducted the review, the interview and validation?
It was, Mr. Chair, can I check the record first?
You check it now.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hindi ko alam kung saan mo check-in iho. Niloloko mo na kami.
I'm sorry, Mr. Baka magkamali ako dun sa pangalan.
Sige nga, hanapin mo. Saan mo hanapin dyan? So wala pa siyang 20 years or 30 years or 56 years old.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Maybe optional, Mr. Chair.
Optional. Huwag mo ako paglulukohin ha. I'll find a way.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, for Colonel Leonardo. Colonel Leonardo, ilang years ka sa PNP service?
So sa PNP, I believe naka 28 years, Mr. Chair.
28 years. PNPA class 96 ka ba or 97?
I was supposed to graduate 96 but did not differ, Mr. Chair. I graduated 98.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kailan ka na-assign sa CIDG? Since when?
Since 2001, Mr. Chair.
2001. And kailan ka na-relieve sa CIDG?
In between, Mr. Chair, there were times that I was reassigned to other unit, Mr. Chair. Not straight CIDG. But all in all, as far as I can recall, my service as a CIDG more or less is 18 years with the CIDG, Mr. Chair.
More or less, how many years?
18 years with the CIDG.
18 years.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So 18 years. So 18 years ka sa intelligence unit, intelligence community. Kilala mo ba si Police Colonel Crisostomo Mendoza, PNPA class 94?
Hindi ko po kilala, Mr. Chair.
18 years ka sa intelligence community, yung upper class mo, hindi mo alam?
Hindi ko po siya kilala, Mr. Chair.
Hindi mo kilala?
Opo, hindi po.
Okay. Alam mo ba na unaccounted and missing si Police Colonel Mendoza?
Hindi ko rin po alam.
Hindi mo alam?
Hindi po talaga.
18 years sa intelligence community, hindi mo alam?
18 years po ako sa CIDG,
Yes.
Region 11,
Yes.
karamihan po.
Di ba intelligence unit ang CIDG?
Partly, Mr. Chair, yung
Yes.
election
Okay.
part. Opo.
So hindi mo alam na missing si Colonel Mendoza?
Hindi ko po kilala kasi kung sino po yung...
O sige, kung hindi mo
resource
kilala.
na sinasabi niyo po.
May narinig ka ba na missing si Colonel Mendoza?
Wala rin po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. General Torres, sir. PNPA
Yes, Mr.
class
Chair.
93 po ba kayo?
Yes, sir.
So underclass po ninyo si Colonel Mendoza?
Yes, sir.
Totoo po ba yung information na unaccounted and missing si Police Colonel Crisostomo Mendoza, PNPA class 94? Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
General Torres, sir. Sa pagkakaalam po ba ninyo, maliban kay Colonel Mendoza, may iba pang police personnel na unaccounted and missing from 2016 to present?
I have to check the record, sir. Please allow me to report it to you on the next hearing, sir.
Okay, balikan ko lang po, Mr. Chair. Sa pagkakaalam po ninyo, ano ang dahilan? Bakit missing si Colonel Mendoza?
If I recall it right, sir, I think it was on the end of 2017 when he was reported missing by the family. Chris Mendoza had worked with me and NARCOM in 1999, very shortly, during the time when we operated against Mayor Mitra of Panukulan, Quezon, where we got the 500 kilos in the ambulance and another van. We worked together in that, sir, that's NAR group. It was, I think, end of 2017 that he was reported missing. And we really have no idea, as of the moment, on the concrete details on this incident, sir.
So may information po na sinasabi, sangkot siya sa illegal drugs. Tama po ba?
Come again, sir?
May information na sinasabing involved siya sa illegal drugs.
During the time, sir, when he went missing, I think he was already dismissed from the service because he has a previous case of AWOL or another case of administrative case that he was appealing then with, I think, the Court of Appeals or Supreme Court. I'm not very I cannot really clearly recall the details as of the moment, sir, but I think I can pull out the records and will report to you with more clarity on the next hearing, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, wala po kayong information na mayroon pang ibang PNP personnel na unaccounted and missing?
I have heard some. What we hear, Mr. Chair, are some police officers killed in line of duty or otherwise. And but for the missing, I have to check on the records, sir. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Naitanong
you, sir.
po ito, Mr. Chair, para malaman po natin na maaring hindi lang politicians, hindi lang private individuals, even police personnel ay sinasabing involved at pwedeng biktima rin po ng EJK. Mr. Chair, may I respectfully move to Direct General Torre to submit the list of unaccounted and missing PNP personnel from 2016 to present, Mr. Chair.
General Torre, you are directed to comply with the request of Congressman Busita.
Will comply, sir. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So the next to interpolate is Congressman Keith Flores. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to be clarified with Napolcom. Did you just mention earlier that the case against the CIDG officers were all dismissed?
From what we have gathered, Your Honor, from the criminal cases were all basically dismissed, Your Honor.
The criminal cases?
Yes, sir.
Have admission cases been filed against them before the Napolcom?
Yes, Your Honor. It was decided by then Chief PNP De La Rosa that the said persons will be demoted.
Just demoted?
Yes, Your Honor. Just demoted.
Ang penalty nila in the administrative case is demotion lang?
Yes,
Klaruhin ko lang.
Yes,
okay,
Your Honor.
from your opinion, Attorney Bernardo, what were the mistakes or errors that were committed by the team that enforced the search warrant? Like, if I'll just go through it now, from the testimonies that I've heard. Using bonnets or covering their faces, is that proper?
Yes. Under the circumstances, Your Honor, bonnet is not at all supposedly used for that purpose.
So in enforcing a search warrant, it should not be used?
Yes,
Their
precisely.
faces should not be covered?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
They are-
Second,
Yes.
Attorney Bernarda, was disabling the CCTV in the jail facility also proper and in accordance with the SOP of the PNP in enforcing a search warrant?
That is improper and actually it's irregular to remove the CCTV.
Okay.
Because in fact, the Supreme Court required them to use body-worn camera or alternative recording device in the execution of search warrant.
Third, was it proper for them to disarm the jail guards and the PNP that were sent to augment the security in the area?
It is also improper. That should not be the case, Your Honor.
Okay, now of all itong tatlo lang, supposedly, if this were the offenses, administrative complaints filed against them, would that warrant a demotion? Just a demotion?
Theoretically, Your Honor, demotion is not enough, Your Honor.
For all these three lang. I'm not even discussing the death.
Yes, Your Honor.
What should be the proper penalty then?
These are serious irregularities in the performance of duty. This could amount for a dismissal.
They should have been dismissed, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And why do you think was the penalty of demotion meted upon them by then Chief PNP Bato?
I could not actually, Your Honor, understand the rationale of a mere demotion on the same. Because our belief is that although conspiracy is not necessary to prove an administrative case, but in the case of Colonel Marcos, he may be then equated to a principal considering that he was at the site when the supposed search warrant was executed. He was then at the door of the sub-provincial jail, and he insisted to open the same. Only he returned back to his vehicle. The security the augmentation from the CIDG Region 8 and the Regional Maritime Unit 8 is also may be liable in the individual participation, principal by indispensable cooperation. Because without the indispensable assistance or support of the CIDG 8 and Regional Mobile Unit, they could not overpower the sub-provincial jail. Meaning, therefore, they are liable for principal by indispensable cooperation. Now, by direct participation, those who executed all of those offenses, including the consequence for the demise of the two individual, may be rendered principal by direct participation, Your Honor. Notwithstanding that conspiracy may not be applicable in administrative cases, but their individual participation could very well establish from the records of the case, Your Honor. Plus, this can be bolstered by the investigation done by the NBI on the same.
So from an administrative point of view, Attorney Bernardo, there are no more cases that could be filed against the police officers who enforced the search warrant.
Your Honor, the respondent in fact appealed to the National Appellate Board, and in one occasion we discussed the merit of the case. It was at that opportunity, with due respect, I met the commissioner at that time. Commissioner Leonardo at that time opted to acquit all of the respondents. But I hasten to add that if that's the most thing that they could have done during their time, how then could it be possible at this time now that they could be acquitted for all of these offenses? And therefore, we met again, and the other two commissioners are now inclined to reconsider, and they would render a different resolution or determination of the appeal cases. It's forthcoming. We are seeking also additional substantiation from the NBI to see whether we could rely from the SOCO report or from the medical legal, from the forensic pathologies, what may have been the cause of death. Is it actually an exchange of gunfire, or was he killed within the cell, in cell number 1 and in cell number 2 for Raul Yap, for that matter?
Thank you, Attorney Bernardo. Colonel Leonardo, sir, Commissioner Leonardo, I'll ask you again the three things that I thought were improper in the conduct of the search, on the enforcement of the search warrant. Like, 1, having face coverings or a bonnet. Is that proper, sir? While enforcing a search warrant?
During my, when I conduct implementation of search warrant, I never...
Can you answer closer to the mic, sir, so we can hear you?
I never do that during my conduct of...
I'm asking you, sir, from the standard procedures of police officers, sir. Is it proper for police officers to use face coverings in enforcing a search warrant? Yes or no?
I think, no, Mr. Chair, for me, no.
So it's not proper. 2, is it proper for police officers to disable the CCTV system in enforcing a search warrant? Yes or no?
No, Mr. Chair.
3, what was the third one I asked kanina? Was disarming the jail guards and the police officers who augmented the security in the area proper in enforcing the search warrant that was issued by the judge?
It depends on the situation, Mr. Chair. If they pose a threat to the implementing...
Then they could be disarmed?
Yes.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Chair.
depending on the situation. But on the first 2, you said that it was improper.
For me, it was
Yes,
improper,
for you.
Mr. Chair.
Now, if these 2 were improper, out of the 3 that I mentioned, why did you move for the acquittal of these police officers? Did you not find it... you just mentioned that it was improper. Did you not find it that they should be held administratively liable for violating the procedures in enforcing a search warrant?
Mr. Chair, just to correct the manifestation of Vice Chair Bernardo, I never intended to acquit everybody. Actually, the motion for Laraga and Duarte and others are meted 5 months, 6 months, something like
6 months of what, sir?
no. 6 months, Mr. Chair.
Of
And
what?
there are some who were acquitted, recommended acquitted, but that was just a recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Just a recommendation. But you think that they should be administratively, at least administratively held liable?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes. And this is after how many years from the time of the incident that took place? How many years?
I think that was 8 years. 8 years already, Mr. Chair.
8
From
years.
2016 to up to present, Mr. Chair.
So 6 years actually, 6 years. No? 2018. Yeah, anyway.
20,
So it's
no.
that number of years and these police officers are still actively in the service because the administrative case has not yet been resolved up to now. Is that correct, Colonel Leonardo?
I think some of them are no longer in the service, Mr. Chair.
Was it as a result of this administrative case or for some other reasons?
I'm not sure, Mr. Chair, some because of this case, Mr. Chair.
But I thought that case was still pending before the Napolcom.
The
Attorney
appeal,
Bernardo.
Yes, Your Honor. It is still pending in the National Appellate Board. I could not make a decision alone because these are collegial. We are four of us, and at that time, we are not in the same opinion with Commissioner Leonardo, while the two others are still trying to decide whether they would side with me or side with Commissioner Leonardo. And it might strike a good decision when I'm seeking the records of the NBI to substantiate the fact that the cause of death was not at all through exchange of fire, but rather, if I would follow the medical legal, it might have been a murder case or at the very least, a homicide. And they are not supposed to be simply demoted, Your Honor.
Shouldn't the administrative case be faster, Attorney Bernardo?
Yes, it should have been, but in as much as the decision, I was then alone because the other commissioners are still trying to evaluate the case. I was just alone in pushing for an early resolution.
The point that I'm raising, Attorney Bernardo, is the fact that if these people are still in the active service of the PNP, then they could still be performing acts which are illegal or improper and not in accordance with PNP policies. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
That's why there's a need to hasten the proceedings siguro, sir. Di ba?
Yes, pinakiusapan ko nga, Your Honor, yung dalawa pang commissioner na they are now siding with me at this time, considering the fact that time has lapsed and justice delayed is justice denied for the victims. And I am asking the NBI for an additional evidence to bolster my recommendation that there's supposed to be a rendition of judgment and to reverse simply a demotion. It should have been more severe penalties to be imposed.
Are they now siding with you only after Colonel Leonardo resigned as commissioner from the Mapolcom?
I would ask them, Your Honor, but
What was the decision to change their minds recent?
it's quite recent, Your
Quite
Honor.
recent.
Quite recent, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Congressman Flores. Congressman ACOP?
in relation to the issues raised by the Honorable Flores, Napolcom, na-charge din po ba si Colonel Marcos?
Na-charge, Your Honor, pero hindi ho nag-appeal eh. I think suspension lang ata ang sa kanya eh. Kaya hindi na po siya nag-appeal eh. Yung iba lang mga kasama ang nag-appeal,
Was
Your
his
Honor.
sentence served?
I suppose so, Your Honor. It's supposed to have been served by this time.
Suspension. How about Major Laraga?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I was demoted, Mr. Chair.
You were demoted.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Samantalang si Colonel Marcos na promote. Di ba doon sumasama ang loob mo?
No, not necessarily, Mr. Chair.
Not necessarily.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Pero alam ko, sumama ang loob mo eh. Di ba? Dahil ikaw, na-demote siya na promote. If you look at the orders of Colonel Marcos, it was through the orders of the President, former President, signed by the Secretary of the Interior and Local Government, as attested by DPRM, if you look at his orders. Di ba? Kaya alam ko, masama yung loob mo dahil hindi ka na ganun eh. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman ACOP. Now, yes,
Just,
Congressman Paduano.
I consulted the COMSEC, and as far as I remember, during the previous hearing, we invite the deponent, no? And now Major Laraga is here. Major, sino nga yung deponent nyo?
Mr. Paul Olendan, Mr. Chair.
Ito,
Is he here?
case to ni, ni Mayor Espinosa.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Magkaiba pa yung sa case ni Alvarez.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, in the case of Mayor Espinosa, sinong deponent?
Mr. Paul Olendan, Mr. Chair.
Anong background niya? Why he was chosen as a deponent?
He was a previous PDL, Mr. Chair.
Previous PDL.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kaya nga sabi kanina na Pulcom na yung comment nung the justice, well in fact walang direct knowledge yung deponent mo. Kasi dating nakakulong pero nasa labas. Paano siya, kasi supposedly the deponent has direct knowledge, di ba?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
So why him? Na hindi naman siya nakakulong.
Mr. Chair, based on the
RC,
testimony of the deponent, Mr. Chair,
testimony of whom?
of the deponent, Mr. Chair, which was
Ang
subjected
tanong ko nga
to...
sa iyo, kasi ikaw yung nag-apply, di ba, ng search warrant?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ikaw nag-handle.
Yes,
Now,
Mr.
anong testimony niya? Nakita niya na may baril doon sa loob?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Paano niya nakita?
He was, according to him, Mr. Chair, he was able to go inside, and he was, if I'm not mistaken, invited, Mr. Chair.
Have you checked the warden that indeed your deponent has visited the jail? Sandali po, yes or no lang. Ikaw, Major Laraga,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
huwag ka magsinungaling. Yes or no? Have you checked the warden that indeed your deponent has visited the jail to confirm that indeed there is a gun?
Personally, me not, no, Mr. Chair.
Sorry?
Me personally, I did not, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you did not.
Yes, Mr.
But
Chair.
you applied for a search warrant without checking that indeed yung testimony ng deponent mo na nakapasok siya doon.
I believe, Mr. Chair, I don't have any recourse as to validate.
Eh, yun
Where
yung
in
problema
fact,
mo.
he gets
Then
released
why?
from jail.
Then why? You apply for search warrant.
Actually, Mr. Chair, that
And then,
illegal trade inside the...
You mentioned about the testimony of your deponent, di ba? Tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Now, tinatanong kita, paano mo na-verify that indeed that testimony is true and correct?
Mr. Chair, I was made to believe that... his
You were made to
testimony-
believe.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But you have to check. Now, question. Sabi mo kanina, nakita niya nakapasok siya doon nung nagbisita siya. Tama?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Now, doon sa ano po, kay Warden. And then the PDL, former PDL that was mentioned by Major Laraga, nakabisita po ba siya doon kay Mayor Espinosa?
Mr. Chair,
Major Laraga, pakiulit nga po yung pangalan ng former PDL.
Mr. Paul Olindan, Mr. Chair.
Do you know Paul Olendarin?
Hindi po, Your Honor.
Hindi mo kilala?
Hindi po kilala, Your Honor.
Oh, Major Laraga, hindi niya kilala. Former inmate saan yun? Siya. Hindi, ikaw. Major. Dapat alam mo yung background ng deponent mo, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Saan siya dati nakakulong?
I believe in Aboyog Penal Colony, Mr. Chair.
The same? No.
No, I think...
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we do not have any PDL by the name of Ulindan. And records, upon verification of our records, he never visited the Baybay Sub-Provincial Jail Facility.
Oh, Major Laraga, hindi siya former detainee o inmate ng provincial jail. Sabi mo nga sa Aboyog. Tapos, hindi rin nag-visit doon. Medyo talaga, wag kang
Mr.
magsinungaling.
Chair, I cannot answer for and in behalf of my deponent and that as to regard of
No,
the...
sandali po. Hindi ko po sinasabi sa iyo that you have to answer. Ikaw po nagsabi na sinabi ng deponent mo na bumisita sa doon.
That is correct, Mr.
And
Chair.
now, the jail warden confirms na walang nangyaring visit.
I cannot attest to the
Yun ang-
statement of the jail.
Yun nga, sabi ko sa iyo kanina, tinanong nga kita, have you checked?
Personally, not, Mr. Chair.
Personally?
Me personally.
Bakit sino pa ba dapat mag-check?
I believe we have a surveillance personnel who took...
Ikaw ba naman,
Validation,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
Laraga? Ikaw yung nag-apply, principal nag-apply ng mga search warrant, tapos sabihin mo na, di ba sinabi mo kanina, nagbisita siya?
Based on his testimony, Mr. Chair.
Oh, kaya nga sinasabi ko sa iyo, based on his testimony. Now, kino-confirm ngayon na walang nangyaring visit yung deponent mo. O, sino kayo may problema?
Mr. Chair, we have been filed. I was also a respondent or accused of the
Sandali po,
criminal case
I am
for...
not asking you about your case. Well, in fact, demotion nga lang eh, di ba? You were just demoted.
the criminal case for malicious application of
And now
search
you're
warrant.
invoking sub judice in
No,
this
no,
committee?
Mr. Chair, that was also the... there was a case filed against me, Mr. Chair, and then
So,
the search warrant, actually, Mr. Chair, it was the honorable judge, through searching questions and answers, who made the probable cause and issued the same, which until now, Mr. Chair, was, as ruled by the Supreme Court, was valid and the application was proper. I believe, Mr. Chair. I submit to the Supreme Court's ruling, Mr. Chair. If
Valid.
that's my humble submission, Mr. Chair.
Na valid yung application ng search warrant?
Yes, Mr. Chair. It was in the ruling of the Supreme Court, Mr. Chair. I humbly submit.
May I know?
Sandali.
May I know anong ruling yan?
Mr. Chair, it was a consolidated case of all of the
Are you a
confused-
lawyer? Are you a lawyer?
I'm not, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Can you give me a copy? Do you have a copy with you of the ruling?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have.
Pahingi nga kami. Paige, can you please get a copy and submit this copy to the chair? Kung please proceed, Congressman Paduano.
Sino po yung nag-file ng case against
It was the NBI, Mr. Chair.
the NBI?
Yeah, perjury and malicious application of search warrant, Mr. Chair.
So, the Supreme Court decided in
No,
favor.
no, sir, at the Municipal Trial Court of Pasay Samar, Mr. Chair.
So, nag-appeal ba yung NBI? Did they appeal?
I think they did not, Mr. Chair.
They didn't.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, ito yung problema. NBI, are you familiar with the case?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. We are familiar with the case. However, if the questions will be about the case itself, we would like to have a moment with the records and we will submit the records of the case on the next hearing, Your Honor.
Update kami dito, no? Kasi, while you're telling this committee na yung MTC rules favorable to your case, tama?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. It was dismissed, Mr. Chair.
Pero alam mo na rin ngayon na there is a Supreme Court ruling also na
It was issued
na bawal mag-issue ng search warrant on government facilities.
Actually, Mr. Chair, it was fully discussed in the ruling, Mr. Chair, that it is allowed to apply a search warrant for a criminal investigation.
Sa MTC yan.
No, Mr. Chair, from the Supreme Court in bank, Mr. Chair. The one that I give the ruling, Mr. Chair. It was fully discussed in there, Mr. Chair. That's why I said I humbly submit to the ruling of the Supreme Court with that regard, Mr. Chair.
Hindi, papacheck namin Papacheck namin kasi magkaiba tayo ng appreciation dun sa ruling ng Supreme Court. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I think Major Gargar, the question of Chairman Paduano was whether or not you knew for a fact that there was the deponent that you brought before the court was not a detainee. Did you have prior knowledge of the fact that he was not a detainee?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So alam mong hindi siya detainee?
At that moment, Mr. Chair, he was already outside. Yeah, previously, Mr. Chair.
But you just heard the warden say that they have no records of him being a detainee.
It was from a different facility, Mr. Chair.
But you just said that it was the Abayog, what was that?
Abuyog.
Abuyog.
Yes, that is correct,
Baybay.
Mr. Chair.
We
They are
are
from the Baybay jail.
Baybay sub-provincial facility kami.
Okay, so where was Mayor Espinosa detained?
Baybay sub-provincial jail facility.
Bye-bye. And you were at, what was your place? Abuyog? Well, are you at Bye-bye?
Baybay.
Kayo?
Yes.
And Major Gargar was saying that the deponent that he brought was also a detainee at Bye-bye? Tama
No.
ba? He was a detainee at a different place? So
Yes.
if he was detained at a different place, how could he say, or how could he testify that Mayor Espinosa had these illegal things in his cell?
Mr. Chair, if I may be able to
If they were detained at
discuss.
different institutions?
Mr. Chair, if I may be able to discuss.
Go ahead, sir, please.
Mr. Chair, the situation kasi noon, Mr. Chair, is that PDLs or those previously detained and also inside the jail, Mr. Chair, they have all connections from different
so
different
sinasabi mo,
jails.
chismis lang, marites. He heard. He didn't actually see.
No, Mr. Chair, he was able to penetrate based on his testimony, Mr. Chair. That is not my testimony, Mr.
He is detained at a different facility, yet he's
Before.
able to penetrate.
Before, Mr. Chair, before. So he has knowledge. He knows yung kalakaran po sa loob ng mga jails, yung with regard to illegal drug trade, Mr. Chair.
Knowing the kalakaran and actually seeing it and having personal knowledge of these things are two different things. Major Laraga, tama po ba?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Oh, so you bring a deponent who had no personal knowledge of the things except just knowing the kalakaran in the area? Yan ang deponent mo? for the issuance of a search warrant?
No, Mr. Chair, he has personal knowledge, Mr. Chair.
How did he get personal knowledge again? Can you enlighten me po?
In his testimony, Mr. Chair, he was able to penetrate.
How did he penetrate a jail facility without him being detained there? Was he a jail guard?
There was his, actually, I don't have his sworn affidavit.
But you
Mr.
interviewed
Chair,
him, I'm sure, di ba? Major Laraga, in-interview mo siya before mo siya pinesenta sa korte, tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and
Oh, so anong-
he was subjected to a searching question and answer
No,
by the issuing
I'm
judge.
asking you. In-interview mo ba yung deponent mo?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, so ano
By
sabi
the
niya?
investigator also.
Yes, paano niya nalaman? How did he have personal knowledge? Yan ang gusto ko malaman.
It was in his affidavit,
I'm
Mr.
asking
Chair.
you interviewed him. You just said that you interviewed him.
Yun nga, Mr. Chair, nakapasok siya doon.
Paano nga makapasok?
Nagka-transaction sila ni, if I'm not mistaken, doon sa ano, nagkaroon sila ng mismong physical ni the late Mayor
Okay.
Espinosa.
Major Laraga, explain how he explained to you paano siya nakapasok as an ordinary civilian na hindi detainee in a jail facility. Paano siya nakapasok?
Actually, Mr. Chair, the allegation na mayroong collusion between mga bantay doon sa loob is yun yung reason na nakapasok sila. And that has been already almost public knowledge in the penal institutions there in Region 8, Mr. Chair. Alam naman po nung almost lahat ng operatiba doon prior to that, Mr. Chair. Talagang
So ang sinabi niya sa'yo by collusion with some jail guards maybe and some other persons inside the jail, he was able to go inside. Is that correct? Major
yes,
Laraga?
Mr. Chair, through the influence of the drug lord, Espinosa Drug Group.
And that from his entry into that facility, he was able to see firsthand how things were being done. That's why you're saying that he had personal knowledge of these things.
That is correct, Mr. Chair, based on his testimony, Mr.
And you believe that, Major Laraga?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Because you brought
I
him.
agree. Because prior to that, Mr. Chair, I had been the operative, and we already had an intel information with regard to that illegal drug trade inside the penal colony and in the detention facilities,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
now, is that the reason why when you entered the facility, you wore a bonnet or covered your face?
Mr. Chair, that is not true, Mr.
That
Chair.
is not true.
I was not wearing bonnet, Mr.
Okay,
Chair.
is it true that you turned off the CCTV system inside the jail facility?
That is not true, Mr. Chair.
So none
And,
of you did. It was all working at the same time.
Yes, Mr. Chair. With regard to that, Mr. Chair, we had been also charged with with that particular violation, Mr. Chair, by
And?
the NBI.
By the NBI.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Also in court.
In court, Mr.
Also
Chair.
dismissed.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Oh, you have a very good lawyer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Congressman Flores.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair.
Congressman ACOP.
Yes. Major Laraga, how long have you been with CIDG?
Since 8 years,
8
almost 8 years, Mr. Chair.
8 years.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And how many times have you applied for a search warrant?
Several times already, Mr. Chair.
Several times.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Now, may I know, kung yung deponent ninyo dun sa kaso ni Mayor Espinosa ay walk-in o kayo ang nag-secure?
I believe there was a...
Ano ang talagang nangyari? Hindi ko
May-
tinatanong kung ano yung paniwala mo.
Pardon, I'm sorry,
Ang
Mr. Chair.
tinatanong ko, whether your deponent ay walk-in, nag-volunteer ng sarili niya, o hinanap ninyo. Hindi ko tinatanong kung anong paniwala mo.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was the... not walk-in, Mr. Chair. It was
Ano
not
nga? Nag-volunteer siya?
No, Mr. Chair.
Hinanap niyo siya?
Our age,
How did you come to know your
police
deponent?
handler. There was a police handler, Mr. Chair.
Ano?
There was a handler, Mr. Chair, an agent.
Sino
police.
yung handler na pulis na yun?
He was already retired, Mr. Chair.
Ang galing
I
mong
believe.
gumawa ng istorya eh.
Yes, I'm certain,
Now,
Mr. Chair.
Sige, assuming na meron siyang handler, since when na naging handler yung kuha na yun, informant nyo na yun, yung deponent? Binubola mo na ako eh.
Hindi, actually, hindi naman po, Mr. Chair, na bubola, Mr. Chair. Talagang mayroon lang po talaga siyang personal knowledge sa
Hindi ko naman tinatanong
pangyayari.
kung may personal knowledge eh. Ang tinatanong ko, how did you come to know the deponent? Ikaw nag-apply ng search warrant eh.
It was introduced to me by our personnel, Mr. Chair. That na
Sino
merong...
nga yung nag-introduce sa'yo? What's the name?
Of our personnel, Mr. Chair.
Oo nga. Marunong ka bang umintindi ng English? Tatagalugin ko. Sino ang nag-introduce sa'yo nung deponent?
It was retired Kayubit, Mr. Chair.
Alin? Retired na siya nung in-introduce niya?
No, right
Active
now.
pa siya noon?
Active pa siya noon at the
May I
time.
know the name and address?
Melvin Kayubit, Mr. Chair, at Palo
Alin?
Leyte.
Ano?
Melvin Kayubit.
Mr. Chair, may I move that we, in the next hearing, we invite subject person mentioned by Mayor Laraga as the deponent in the search warrant against or issued against the late Mayor Espinosa.
Comsec, you are directed to invite the said person named by Congressman Nako.
Nung ipinakilala sa iyo yung deponent, ano ang protocol dapat kung si IDG ka for 8 years?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have to, of course, the investigator must interview and do a background and validation, Mr. Chair.
You have to conduct a review, interview and validation.
And validation.
Ikaw.
The investigator, Mr. Chair, our investigator who will get the
And who
testimony.
was the investigator who conducted the review, the interview and validation?
It was, Mr. Chair, can I check the record first?
You check it now.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hindi ko alam kung saan mo checkin ihon. Niluloko mo na kami.
I'm sorry, Mr. Baka magkamali ako dun sa pangalan, Mr.
Sige
Chair.
nga, hanapin mo. Saan mo hanapin dyan?
Mr. Chair, if my recollection is correct, Mr. Chair, it was PO3 Johnny Ibanez.
PO3 Johnny
Ibanez,
Ibanez.
Mr. Chair.
Is he still in the active service?
I believe he already also retired, Mr. Chair.
He also retired.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
PO3 siya, nag-retire?
Yes, Mr. Chair, PO3.
PO3. Nag-retire siya, mandatory or optional?
I think
Kasi
it's optional.
PO3 siya,
I
kailan lang
think
nangyari
it's
yun,
optional.
Nako eh. So wala pa siyang 20 years o 30 years or 56 years old.
Yes, Mr. Chair, maybe optional, Mr. Chair.
Optional. Huwag mo ako paglulukuhin ha. I'll find a way. Colonel Punanan, will you please take the name dun sa sinabi niya and kindly give this committee the details whether nag-retire nga siya optionally o hindi? Pakitanong sa kanya yung pangalan at ranko. Kasi the way you're answering, you're already quibbling, Major Laraga. Now, noong in-interview at saka validate, ikaw ba nag-conduct ng sarili mong validation when the investigator reported to you as far as his validation is concerned?
Negative, Mr. Chair.
Negative. Wala ka nang ginawa. Hindi ka man lang
Informally, Mr. Chair.
I beg your pardon?
Informally, just calling some, you know,
Hindi mo tinignan kung anong resulta ng validation?
tinignan naman po, Mr. Chair.
And you did not find it unreasonable na isang dating PDL nagsasabi ng may baril yung isang PDL sa ibang detention center?
Credible naman po yung binabanggit nung
Credible sa iyo?
Mr. Chair.
Credible sa iyo?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ang galing mong sumagot, pero yung bagay na yon is credible sa iyo.
Oo naman, Mr. Chair.
Paano maging credible yun? Paano niya nalaman na merong baril si Mayor Espinosa doon sa Kwan?
Meron po siyang personal knowledge doon, Mr. Chair.
Ano nga? You define personal knowledge to me.
Personally po, nagkaharap po sila ni...
Paano sila nagkaharap?
I cannot discuss the details. It should be
Why
the
can't you
deponent,
not
Mr.
discuss?
Chair.
Ikaw ang nag-apply eh.
I based
Mr.
only,
Chair.
I endorsed in the application, Mr. Chair, I endorsed the
Hindi nga,
testimony of
tinatanong nga
the
kita.
sworn affidavit.
Nung nag-report sa iyo, hindi mo ba napansin kung reasonable o unreasonable yung validation? Kasi dapat magsuspecha ka na paano nakapagbibigay yung isang tao na dating PDL pero hindi naman PDL sa baybay ng statement na may baril si the late Mayor Espinosa doon sa selda niya.
Mr. Chair, kasi nakapasok daw siya doon, sir. Tsaka may contact,
Masasabi lang
may
ng-
connection naman sila.
Mayor Laraga, kasasabi lang ng mga officials doon, ni wala silang bisita na ganun, ni hindi sila nagkaroon ng PDL na ganun. You are lying!
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but I cannot...
Mr. Chair, may I respectfully move that we cite Major Laraga in contempt for
Seconded.
violation of Section 11.
Seconded.
There's a
So
motion.
move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion to cite Major Laraga in contempt for violating Section 11
Seconded.
and duly seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, you are now cited in contempt, Major Laraga.